But her strength was something internal, and it was the ability to have kindness and courage, and to be really clear about what she felt about looking at the world, independent of how others saw her or influenced her beliefs. And I think what's extraordinary for young girls around the world is they don't have to have a sword, and they don't have to have a shield, a bow, and an arrow. But the ability to look into themselves and to have a sense of their own clear view of what they believe and their own kindness and their own beliefs, that is evident in this incredibly strong and contemporary Cinderella.
Okay, your question, Helen, please.
Hi, me again, Kate. Hi, you're actually in two movies here, Knight of Cups as well. It's a very quiet portrayal.
I remember
there.
making that one, yes.
You do remember?
I haven't yet seen it.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's still a very... just was wondering if you could compare Terrence Malick and Kenneth Branagh at all, if there's any possibility. Or which style...
Yes, different spelling.
Which style do you prefer, given that that role is very quiet, very little dialogue, and this one's quite the diva role, in a way?
Well, I mean, in working with Terry, I mean, he's a philosopher and a poet. Not that Ken isn't, but he's not. This is a film that has an incredibly strong narrative drive. We're telling a fairy tale, reinventing a fairy tale, whereas Terry would describe the experience of filmmaking like going fishing, and so he knew personally, internally, what he was looking for, but he didn't necessarily know which moments were going to end up in the final film. And the narrative, increasingly, I think, for him, is less important than the poetic exploration. And I think Ken, as an actor and as a director, is entirely capable of and probably interested in doing that, were the material to suggest that. But this particular endeavour is sort of antithetical to that experience. It was very much about character, psychological motivation, storytelling. So they were very different experiences, and I don't even know if I'm in the Terrence Malick film, whereas I can say with 100% certainty I am in Cinderella.
Okay. Final question for today,
Hi,
please.
this is Cristiana Liebi from Italy. A question for Kate Blanchett. I find you are really delicious in this cruel version, and it's very natural, seems to be very natural. So I would like to know if you consciously dive in some particular spots. Where do you really find this inspiration? Because it's so natural to be.
To be delicious? Wickedly
No,
delicious?
to be cruel. To be
Sounds
cruel.
like an ice cream. Deliciously wicked. Look, in the end, it first and foremost comes off the text. That's your first sort of interface, or was in this particular instance. And then it's never the role, actually, that draws me to any project. It's the company that you're keeping. So it's the dialogue that you're going to have with the director and you know, the other actors that you'll be working with. You know, how it's produced, who's doing the costumes, who's going to do the make, who are you creating the visual world with? And you know, when you know it's Dante and Sandy and Ken and this incredible cast, then you say, well, yes. And then the role, you think, oh shit, now I've got to do something. So that's always the last point. The inspiration in the end comes off the other people that you're working with. And a lot of that stuff does, for me, come in costume fittings, actually, because that's where you sort of have that kind of girly conversation where you think, oh, what if I wore this in this scene? Because then if I look like that in the scene, then I'm not going to act that. Or you can act against it. And then you can suggest that to Ken and you tweak that. And so it's a constant refining. It's a conversation. It's never... I mean, every act is different. But I don't sort of do it in my bathroom at home and then deliver it up. It's very much an organic process that happens with other people. Or at least I pretend it is.
Thank you very much, and we are really happy to say yes to Cinderella, to have you here on the festival. Thanks for all being here. Happily ever after. Cinderella on the Berlin Film Festival.